A dog raised 3 lion cubs, but when they grew up, the unthinkable happened. What you're about to hear defies everything we know about nature. When 3 newborn lion cubs were abandoned by their mother, everyone thought their fate was sealed. But then something extraordinary happened. A German shepherd named Bella did the impossible. She became their mother. And what happened years later, when these cubs grew into massive predators, will leave you speechless. The story begins at a wildlife sanctuary where every day brings both miracles and heartbreak. One morning, the staff discovered a situation that shattered their hearts. 3 lion cubs had just been abandoned by their mother. Tiny, blind, and completely helpless, they were doomed without immediate intervention. Their weak, desperate cries echoed through the humid forest air, a haunting reminder of how fragile wildlife can be. The caretakers leaned over them, knowing that every minute counted. Without maternal warmth or milk, these little creatures had no chance of survival. That's when a ray of hope appeared in the most unexpected form. In a neighboring enclosure lived Bella, a magnificent German shepherd with a golden coat. Gentle and protective, she had recently given birth to a litter of healthy puppies. Her body was still full of milk, and her maternal instinct was stronger than ever. The caretakers, torn between caution and desperation, had a bold idea: try to introduce the lion cubs to Bella. Logic said it couldn't work. A dog couldn't accept felines, especially predators destined to become formidable hunters. Yet sometimes nature loves to defy the rules. What happened next moved everyone who witnessed it. Bella slowly approached the tiny cubs, sniffed them carefully, then without any hesitation began licking them tenderly as if to erase the pain of their abandonment. In that simple, pure gesture, she made a decision that would forever change the destiny of these 3 lion cubs. She welcomed them as her children. The caretakers watched in awe as the cubs crawled clumsily toward her warmth, nestled against her belly, and began nursing eagerly. Alongside her puppies, they found their place as if it had always been written in the stars. From that day forward, a new family was born at the sanctuary. Bella shared her milk, her warmth, and above all, her unconditional love. Each night, she watched over her entire brood, an improbable mix of playful puppies and fragile lion cubs. The caretakers knew this union defied all laws of biology, but they couldn't deny the strength of this bond. Over the weeks, the cubs grew stronger. Their eyes opened, and their first roars resonated, soft as whispers, but carrying the promise of power to come. However, as time passed, concerns grew. The puppies remained a reasonable size, but the lion cubs were growing at an alarming rate. The contrast became striking. Bella, lean and graceful, weighed barely 130 pounds. Her adopted children, on the other hand, promised to become majestic beasts. Already, their play sometimes resembled small battles, and their claws, though clumsy, could scratch their adoptive mother's tender skin. The caretakers observed these scenes with a mixture of admiration and apprehension. Every morning, entering the enclosure, they held their breath, fearing they might discover a tragedy. The line between play and hunting instinct seemed to grow thinner with each passing day. And yet, day after day, Bella never showed the slightest fear. When a cub pounced on her awkwardly, she would roll on the ground and bring him back in line with a maternal paw swipe or a gentle growl, just as she would with her own puppies. This consistency in her behavior gave everyone the impression of witnessing a living miracle. News of this extraordinary family eventually spread beyond the sanctuary walls. Villagers began coming to observe this unique spectacle. Some spoke of a divine sign, others of a natural curiosity that wouldn't last. Local cameras filmed Bella surrounded by her 2 litters, and soon the images circulated throughout the region. Animal behavior experts came to analyze the situation. Many predicted the cohabitation couldn't last. Sooner or later, the lion's instincts would take over. But in the depths of Bella's eyes shone a certainty. These 3 cubs were her children, and nothing could change that. It was a period both magnificent and agonizing. Magnificent because the images of a dog nursing lions seemed straight out of a fairy tale. Agonizing because everyone knew time was working against this harmony. The cubs were gaining strength at an impressive speed, and the sanctuary didn't have the means to separate them without causing immense suffering. The caretakers decided to observe, protect as best they could, and above all, let Bella's love guide this unprecedented family. Months passed, and the cubs grew at a dizzying pace. At 6 months old, they were already the size of large dogs, and their massive paws announced the predators they would become. Bella's puppies, much smaller, seemed tiny beside them. Yet in the enclosure, no difference really mattered. All shared the same mother, and under her watchful eye, they formed an improbable brotherhood. The caretakers knew this equation was becoming increasingly risky. Each of the cubs' games now resembled combat. Their leaps could knock Bella down, and their pointed teeth sometimes inflicted small wounds. But the dog never backed down. On the contrary, she doubled her attention and firmness, bringing her big babies to order as if she had forgotten they belonged to another species. Still, worry mounted. Each morning, sanctuary employees arrived with a muted apprehension, fearing they might discover the brutal end of this adventure. Experts warned, in nature, at this age, cubs begin their hunting apprenticeship. They play at chasing their mother, biting harder, testing their instincts. The risk was immense. They feared a single wrong move would be enough to transform play into tragedy. Stern voices demanded the immediate separation of the dog and the lions. But another part of the staff refused to break this unique bond. As long as Bella showed confidence and the lions accepted her as a maternal figure, why take away their chance at this extraordinary family? The tension reached its peak one stormy afternoon. Black clouds gathered overhead and thunder rumbled in the distance. In the enclosure, the cubs paced nervously, excited by the electricity in the air. One of them, the largest male, seemed particularly agitated. His tail whipped the ground, his golden eyes fixed on Bella with unusual intensity. The caretakers stationed behind the fence held their breath. Was this the moment everyone dreaded? The lion crouched, muscles tensed, ready to pounce. His gaze had lost the gentleness of childhood, and for one frozen second, he was nothing but a wild beast facing a dog. Then he jumped. Screams erupted, but what followed exceeded all expectations. Instead of attacking, the cub threw himself at Bella in a playful gesture. His imposing mass nearly crushed her, but he began rubbing his muzzle against hers, licking her ears with a tenderness that melted hearts. The 2 other cubs rushed over, and all rolled on the ground with their adoptive mother in a chaotic and moving embrace. This moment, captured by a local camera, circulated around the country within hours. People spoke of miracles, of living proof that love could transcend the most powerful instincts. From that day on, Bella and her cubs' fame crossed borders. Journalists came from around the world. Documentary filmmakers set up their cameras at the sanctuary. The story of a dog raising 3 lions became a symbol of hope and humanity. Experts, torn between admiration and perplexity, began seriously studying this phenomenon. How could such a fragile relationship, based on trust and instinct, resist the awakening of predation? Some spoke of an early attachment so strong it had redefined the cubs' reference points. Others mentioned the possibility that Bella had imposed an emotional hierarchy, positioning herself as a dominant and protective figure. For the caretakers, theories mattered little. What they saw every day was a mother and her children. Bella, sometimes jostled, sometimes tired, never gave up. When a cub got too excited, she gently placed her paw on him and calmed him with a look. When they fought over their food, she interposed herself with quiet authority. Her patience seemed inexhaustible, and despite dark predictions, violence never erupted. 2 years passed. The cubs became majestic young lions, already formidable in their strength and size. Yet nothing had changed in their behavior toward Bella. They respected her, followed her, and still sought her presence like children. When they hurt themselves playing, it was to her they returned, seeking her comforting licks. When they lay down to rest, they pressed against her flank, just as on the first day. Bella had grayed around the muzzle, but her gaze remained that of a fulfilled mother. The rumor of this miracle attracted researchers from across the region. They wanted to understand how such an improbable relationship could endure. But for sanctuary visitors, what mattered wasn't the science. It was the raw emotion of seeing a dog surrounded by 3 adult lions who still treated her as their mother. Today, the sanctuary has become a place of scientific curiosity as much as a symbol of hope. Visitors come from around the world to glimpse the improbable scene. An old German shepherd with a graying muzzle surrounded by 3 adult lions with flaming manes. Where so many experts had predicted a tragic end, there is only a family united by an indestructible bond. Bella has never stopped being their mother, and despite their colossal power, the lions have never forgotten the one who offered them warmth and protection when they were nothing but abandoned babies. Their daily life is punctuated by simple gestures, but each testifies to the strength of this bond. At sunrise, the 3 beasts are often seen lying around Bella, forming a circle of inverted protection. When they play among themselves and excitement rises, a soft growl from their adoptive mother is enough to calm them instantly, obedient as puppies. Even at mealtime, when food could stir their instinct for dominance, they wait for Bella to approach before touching their rations. The researchers who come to study this unusual family multiply hypotheses. Some claim early attachment shaped the lion's brains, giving them a modified perception of hierarchy and social bonds. Others think Bella's maternal instinct, reinforced by her experience with her puppies, created an emotional bubble strong enough to surpass nature's codes. But when caretakers are asked their opinion, they simply answer, "It's love." Because deep down, nothing else explains why 3 predators weighing over 220 pounds continue to snuggle against a dog who doesn't even weigh a quarter of their weight. What began as a desperate attempt to save 3 cubs has become a universal message. The boundaries we believe insurmountable don't hold up against love. In a world often marked by fear of difference, a dog and 3 lions have shown that it's possible to overcome our deepest instincts, to create a bond based on trust and tenderness. And so this story ends not with a dramatic conclusion, but with a promise. Bella, the dog with an immense heart, has proven that motherhood isn't limited by blood or species. The lions, now majestic and powerful, demonstrate every day that love received in the fragility of childhood can shape an entire destiny. Together, they embody a living miracle, a brilliant demonstration that nature sometimes chooses love over logic. If this incredible story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to see that love knows no boundaries, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing true stories that will restore your faith in the impossible. What do you think? Could you believe a dog and lions could form such a bond? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.